Hi, this is Doreen Warren. Welcome to week 6. And this week's discussion is about Stoicism and nobility. We're going to discuss several myths this week. Some are that Indians wear war paint and hoop and holler, and an Indian man should be a warrior. And another one is that Indians are usually pretty stoic, that they're very quiet, and they're good at hunting and tracking. The first reading I'd like to talk about is The Noble, Eloquent Savage. This is a quote from the reading. Washburn hypothesizes that the idea of the noble savage developed its greatest force when the white man was dependent on the Indian for his safety and sustenance. Well, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? You would want to flatter people on whom your life depends. So that's probably where a good deal of it came from. However, we'll go on to another quote in the same article. We must hear again Black Hawk's proud declaration, "I'm a man and you are nothing more," and Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce summoning tribal leaders to a conference. "Hear me, my chiefs, my heart is heavy with oppression, and I must speak to you of this thing." And in the article, she concludes this quote by saying they do not give reasons for their compliments. And they don't. But the bigger problem, in my opinion, is that no one talks about the fact that both of these are surrender speeches, both by Black Hawk and Chief Joseph. They were surrender speeches. They were tired. They were weary. They'd lived through unimaginable things. And to compliment their speech after they've been through such hardships is just hard for me to imagine. The article ends with saying that now Native Americans are starting to critique Native American speeches, and that makes a lot more sense. European measuring sticks on indigenous people's speeches here in this country doesn't make a lot of sense. So even though this paper's pretty old, hopefully things have gotten better, even better since then, since 1972. Me sexy. Painful, very painful to read. Very, very painful to read. And he talks about, in part, being a survivor of sexual abuse that took place at a residential school. And it's not too hard to argue for the things that he's looking for in terms of apologies or reparations. I thought it was so interesting that he talked about arranged marriages and how it sort of makes sense. And he sort of, I felt sort of swept away in that. I thought, that does seem like a good idea. But I love the ending. I mean, it was just so painful to read. And then at the ending, the last 3 sentences are, "Me sexy, ask me. I certainly think I am." So, I don't know where he gets the strength from, but it's clearly there. And I appreciate the courage that it took to write what he wrote. And as a side note, I would like to say that as a non-Indian person, white non-Indian person originally from Chicago, I have both male and female relatives who were either sexually molested by priests or brutalized and assaulted by nuns. And I describe myself as a refugee of the Catholic Church. I mean, I just was raised in the Catholic Church, but very happy to be out of the Catholic Church. And they did not just brutalize indigenous people. They were pretty non-discriminating in terms of their brutality. Me funny. Ugh. Loved it. He describes the importance of the native humor and how it gives them power. And I really like that. And then he talks about the comedic material of African American or Asian or Native comedians sort of making fun of the people in power, the white folks, typically white folks. And it reminded me of when I taught biology in Chicago on the South Side for 11 years. And my student population was 100% African American. And when I first started working there, the kids would tell your mama jokes. They would make fun of each other's mothers, whether they'd met their mothers or not. And at first I was horrified. I said, no, don't say that about his mother. But it's comedy. And it's more than comedy. It's honestly an art form. And it relies on wit and being fast and being funny. So I came to appreciate it in time. And Mr. Taylor talks about, well, maybe you could get a pass, maybe if you're from the outside and you've worked in an area or spent time in an area, you could have a special visa and maybe tell a joke. And I can assure you that I could never tell your mom a joke. That would just never ever fly. I had a special visa for many things in that community, but not for telling your mama jokes. And also in Chicago, I don't know about nationwide, there's Polish jokes. I mean, Polak jokes, and you really shouldn't tell them if you're not Polish. And they're all about how unintelligent Polish people are. And honestly, I'm not aware of any special visas for telling Polish jokes. It should really just be Polish people telling Polish jokes. So I guess the rules are different and interesting depending on where you live, and they're all unwritten, aren't they? You just have to figure them out. And we'll end with Sherman Alexie, one of my favorite writers ever. I've not read any of his poetry, though. I've just read his novels. And I counted, he uses the term a horse culture 5 times in the poem. And I just loved it. You can almost see it coming as you're reading the poem. So, yeah, he nails it. He just nails it perfectly and beautifully. And I guess in conclusion, all I could say is I guess I wish there was Indian Ed for all in every state. I mean, to me, that's one of the very, very first steps into fixing things. That's the best place to start. Besides treating, people decently. But as far as educating people goes, Indian Ed for all, countrywide, nationwide. Well, I apologize for my froggy throat. And thank you for your time. And I look forward to any comments you might have. Take care.